Hello, historians. Welcome back to another episode of Professor Davis Says, where anybody can be a historian. I am Ed Davis, your social historian. Now, of course, we told you previously for the entire month of April, we're calling this series for the month of April, Pandemics of the Past. Okay, it's called Pandemics of the Past, where we talk about, where we review some tidbit stats about past calamities from a global standpoint, okay? And we tie them into what's going on recently with COVID-19 here in 2020. So let me kind of quickly recap that real quick for you. The first was the Spanish flu, and it killed between 20 and 50 million people. And of course, the second one was the Great Depression, where many people were not just depressed, but they lost property, they lost businesses, some people were homeless, many Americans committed suicide. This was the birth of, the welfare system during that time period, And that was started from the New Deal packages, if you will. All right, now, this episode here is called, and it's about really World War II, which in the 20th century was responsible for killing arguably just as many people as the Spanish flu. And that's between roughly 40 and 60 million people from a global standpoint. Just here in America, well, Americans, overseas, we lost about 400,000 soldiers, if you will. So, of course, that needs to be, discussed. But the main issue and what made us so successful, not just as Americans, but from a global standpoint, when it was on the Allied side, was because we had a number of factors involved, which number one was technology and communications, We used our country's brightest, our country's smartest, that weren't necessarily inside of the war phase of it, We used their brains, we used their intellect moving forward. Also, we use ethnic minorities of color, like the Tuskegee Airmen. We use them as fighter pilots and some on the ground. We also use the Navajo Code Talkers. These were Native Americans who also fought and broke down many codes in terms of advancements in the Pacific. We also used Japanese Americans who fought during the war. This is even in the face of adversity when some of their kinfolk were interred against their will between 1942 and 1945, some here in Arkansas. So again, we also use women. We wouldn't have been successful had not have been for our women and what they were doing here at home and some in factories. Companies like Ford were making tanks. So those were some of the main factors what made us so successful during World War II as Americans. And of course, we shared our knowledge with our contemporaries, whether it's with the French, whether it's with the Russians, whether it's with the Chinese, whether it's with the English. We shared those tidbits moving forward. So those are some of the key factors that we could take away from World War II and how it's relevant to coronavirus 19 and how we can be successful. So remember to share this information. Remember to hit the like, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And always remember, Professor Davis says, God bless.